So you signed the papers and you're wondering now what? Learn the 7 essential steps to find the life and love you deserve after midlife divorce. So, hey everyone, I am Fiona Eckersley. Thank you for joining me today. I'm a confidence coach, author, and divorce recovery expert. And I work with women in their midlife to after their divorce, guiding them how to get on with their new lives. So, what I'm really going to help you with today is understanding where you're stuck in moving forward with this next installment of your life, right? Time and again, women, they come to me and they make the same basic mistakes once they've signed those final divorce papers. It's a relief when you finally finished all that paperwork and you're done. And then all of a sudden, you're like, okay, but now what? So right now, you might be feeling stuck. You might not even know what your goals are or even what they should be. And even if you have figured it out, you don't have any idea how to start to get to them. And that's what you're doing here. And this is why we want to help you. So together, we're going to discover how to avoid some destructive behaviors, which really stop you moving forward in a positive way. We're going to step away from the feelings of overwhelm, right? There's all of that comes with this whole new stage of life. We're going to get rid of the anxiety and we're going to tackle things with purpose. We're going to take the first steps to getting a handle on your finances. And believe me, I know about this, even if you'd rather avoid it for as long as possible. We're going to manage the conflict and the destructive behaviors when you think about your ex or when you have to deal with him. I'm going to reconnect you with your vision for what relationships you want and how you can find healthy support and emotional connection. We're going to use the lessons that you learned from your past relationship to find the man that you deserve this time. And really, when this is all done, when the whole divorce thing is blown over, I want you to know that you can emerge with a new hope, that you can thrive after your divorce, right? You can be filled with confidence and energy and clarity. And so that honestly, this next part of your life is going to be the best one yet. So when clients come to me initially, right, often they're really sad. They're really overwhelmed by the new life ahead of them and they have no idea what's going on. And their self-esteem has taken a huge blow. And what this does is it makes it really hard to trust yourself. You can't make decisions. Everything's really difficult. Okay? It's terrifying. Socially, emotionally, financially. Your world has basically been flipped upside down. Now, if you're in midlife and you're 40 plus, right, you feel like your options are kind of limited. We need to shift this perspective. You're not too old. I'm telling you that right now. You need to make plans that are tailored specifically to your needs. Now, this lady here is sociology and law professor Lenore Weitzman, and she did a study. But in it, she found that women are more likely to face damaging financial consequences and a much diminished standard of living. So, you know what? That's a study that she did. We're going to change that dynamic right now. So I want you to watch this all the way through, right? You need to watch it if you're tired of having that permanent knot in your stomach. You know, everyone keeps telling you you should move on, but you can't stop thinking about that ex and the way your life was supposed to be. You know, you've got to manage alone. You've got to be financially stable to look after yourself. And you also know that you do not want to be lonely for the rest of your life. But then you look around and what do you see? All those men out there, they look exactly like your ex. So what's the point? Okay. Life after divorce does not have to be a minefield, right? It's not a minefield designed to blow up your belief in yourself and the idea that you can find your ideal relationship. You can absolutely navigate through this. And I know that you're a strong, capable woman who can set goals and find a clear pathway to a place where you're confident enough to get financially stable and finally be in control of where your life is heading, including finding that special someone who's exactly what you're looking for. Now, I know divorce is always more traumatic than you think it's going to be, right? Doesn't matter who started it, if it was you, if it was him, if it was other circumstances. The thing is, what happens now is that all those big decisions, all the small decisions, everything that used to bounce things off of other people, you know, they're all on you now. And of course, that leads to a lot of anxiety and stress. And it's harder to make those decisions with the confidence that's been really pushed down, right? When you don't trust your own judgment anymore. How can you know what the next stage of your life is going to look like? But once you implement what we're going to talk about today, you will finally have the tools to help you stop that downward spiral, right? Now it's time to trust yourself that you can move forward in a positive way. You can acknowledge your grieving, but understand how strong you really are so that the next phase of your life will be positive and happy. You can avoid the destructive behaviors instead of giving in short term to them. You can get clarity on your finances, figure out your budget, right? Know how it's going to impact your life and your children's lives and your career. You can recognize patterns from your past so that you can get rid of them to find the love that you deserve. And you should know that you can thrive and become a fabulous, confident woman, even if things are looking a little bit bleak to you at the moment. Now, I have to be honest with you, right? This is not a quick fix solution. You've been through so much over a long period of time. I know your emotions are raw, right? Your energy's low. But when you focus on all these things, it really can lead you to a path for the next stage of your life. And it's not easy. I'm not going to lie to you. Transformation is not for the faint of heart. It's not for those who are not willing to put in any effort. Now, I've been doing this for years. And I'm telling you right now, I cannot promise you results. However, if you're prepared to put in the work and follow through, that's when the results start to happen, right? If you're brave, if you're strong, if you insist that you are worth making an effort for, you can make this happen. And I know this because I've done it myself and I've had clients who have done it. Now, if it makes sense right now, I'd love to tell you a little bit about myself so that you can understand that I've been in your shoes and I understand the challenges that you may be facing right now. My own journey took me about 10 years so far. I've learned to overcome my own self-limiting negative thoughts, those emotional blocks, those incorrect beliefs that I had. And what that did was it helped me change my mindset. I understood what was holding me back from what I wanted to achieve. You know, today I've got my own successful business. I've written 2 Amazon best-selling books about life after divorce, and I help other women find their joy, confidence, and peace in life. Now, I've learned to appreciate all the good things that my old life gave me, right? There was some good stuff in there. Kids, for one, right? While feeling gratitude for that, I also recognize that there's so much more ahead of me. And I'm really ready to look into that now. And so here's the thing. This can be you too. There's so much more ahead of you too. So this is what I want you to do. Make sure that you don't have any distractions, right? Close the door, turn off the phone, get off Facebook, please. I want you to watch this really carefully, and I want to think about how all of it applies to you. Now, it might feel a little overwhelming because there's a lot of information in this, but I know that you can do it, okay? I've seen it happen for people. So if you need a second to go grab a pen and a piece of paper, go do that right now, quickly, because I'm telling you, you're going to want to take notes on this. Now, you probably feel like your whole life has been tipped upside down, right? Every social interaction, every financial decision, all those emotions, right? Everything's taken on a different aspect. And you really don't feel like you can trust your own judgment in anything anymore. And what I hear time and time and time again is it all just feels so lonely. And I know exactly how you're feeling. I couldn't believe that the life I thought was all planned out, the life I thought was stable and secure for my children, just one day totally evaporated. Now, my husband and I have been married for 17 years and we were together for 22. We had 4 children, and I was living what I thought was my dream life as a stay-at-home mother in a beautiful suburban house. And we were surrounded by his large family and friends. Then one Sunday afternoon, he walked into our room and said to me, "Yeah, I don't love you anymore. I'm filing for divorce." That was when my nightmare began. The clear path that I'd thought was my future instantly crumbled in that moment. And I was kind of left standing on the edge of a cliff, staring into a void that I had no idea how I was going to move forward. Of course, I heard all the well-meaning assurances from my friends. I'm sure you've heard it, right? You might even have said it to a friend before with the best of intentions before you actually knew. Don't worry, there are plenty of other men out there. He didn't deserve you. You're so strong, you'll be fine. Or those people who just wanted to go over and over the sordid parts of why my marriage might have broken up, trash talk my ex and bring up things that were really only making me feel worse about the whole situation. And the thing is, they were all trying to make me feel better. But truly, they really have no idea that it isn't much consolation. Words don't really help because the fear, the panic, the sadness are really not so instantly dismissed. And I wondered, was I going to be alone for the rest of my life? Well, I kind of made a lot of mistakes, to say the least. That's a whole nother hour-long chat. But eventually, I ended up jobless, single, and terrified. I didn't want to get into another disastrous relationship. I wasn't sleeping, and I was totally stressed out. And to be honest, I was self-medicating with food and wine, and that really wasn't helping things. And I'd look in the mirror every day, and I really didn't like the person who was looking back at me. And then one morning I woke up with that familiar feeling, wondering how I was going to get through the day, pretending that everything was okay. It's like a hand gripping your guts, right? Have you had that feeling? And I knew I just couldn't do it, right? I just knew. And I said to myself, this is not working. You need to get some help. Because when the pain of staying stuck was bigger than the fear of change, that was when I needed to transform my life. I knew it was time to change the direction my life was heading. And that's when I started off on my journey. I reached out for help and I used what I learned to change my behavior, my actions, and more importantly, what I said to myself. Waking up and believing in myself, no longer having that grip on my stomach, has allowed me to live the life that I'm planning for myself. This is how I know that you can do this, because I'm not in that dark place anymore. I'm not hiding, I'm not denying, I'm not lying awake with my thoughts spinning or starting my day in a panic. It's been like a bumpy, eye-opening, tearful, anxious, inspirational, and honestly totally amazing ride. And I'm a long way from that woman who had panic attacks in her minivan, right? The uncertainty and confusion that faced me when I walked out of the courtroom, it's kind of gone now. And I can look back on my marriage objectively with an understanding of both of our flaws and missteps. However, instead of focusing on what might have been, now what I do is I focus on what I have now and what the future holds for me. And it's exciting. I found a confidence and a purpose in my life that I really never knew I possessed. So I want you to think about that now. I want you to picture yourself exactly where you want to be. Thinking positively, releasing the daily anxiety about your future, having a handle on your finances, clear on how to enjoy healthy relationships, feeling self-confidence and knowing that you are enough, and knowing who you want to be in this next chapter of your life. So close your eyes for a moment. Go on, nobody can see you. I'm not looking at you. Close your eyes and really drill down on what it is that you want. How would that feel for you? What would be different about your daily life? What could you do that you aren't doing now? Where would you go that you aren't going now? How would it impact your relationships? Would there be any differences in your career? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to share these ideas with you right now, right? I can't wait, to start on the path to making this vision, the one you just had. I want to make that a reality for you. Okay, so if you're ready, let's find out how to transform your life to the one that you deserve to be living now, using the 7 steps I've used for myself and with my clients, right? We're going to stop focusing on the past and what life was supposed to be. You're going to eliminate the bad habits that are holding you back. You're going to face financial realities. And, I know it's scary. It was one of the hardest ones for me. We're going to reframe your negative emotions to release stress and find silence that inner bitch telling you all the things that are wrong with you and why you can't possibly do this. We're going to set your goals, and not only that, but then you're going to find the path to reach them. And now you're going to find the love that you deserve. Looking back on life as his better half, instead of getting clear on how you want to move on as your whole self, that's a mistake. Often people can lose themselves in marriage. For many women, their identity becomes tied to their husband or children early on. So when the marriage ends, these roles are lost or diminished, and you feel you don't know who you are anymore. You've lost who you are. It's a crisis. And that's why this makes you feel so bad. If you're not able to move away from thinking of yourself in those terms, then you're never going to be able to move on and thrive as an individual. You're going to feel tied to your ex-husband and be constantly looking back on the life that you think you should have been living. And I'm telling you right now, that way only leads to bitterness and sadness. After I got divorced, my ex-husband continued to be very critical of, well, basically everything I did, every thought I had, every move I made, for me, all my kids, whatever it was. And he would regularly send me incredibly long emails outlining something I'd done and providing his list of how and why I was wrong and misguided. And they were really upsetting to read. And I'd get angry, and then I'd be anxious, and I'd be right back in the middle of the conflict of the divorce all over again. And in my opinion, they were very unfair because they didn't take into account the relevant facts, and in some cases, honestly, they were just mean. But I read them all to the end. And then I shared them with my friends. Hey, guess what? Do you know what can you believe this, I would say? And then I'd sit down and I'd write a reply and I'd go point by point, defending myself and outlining my reasons or how he was wrong. And I would send it right back to him. And after this had gone on for a period of some months, a friend said to me, clearly these really bother you. Why don't you just ignore them? It was so obvious, but I never saw it for myself. Why did I care what he thought anymore? Why did it matter if what I did upset him? Why was I allowing him to keep this negative connection with me? So I stopped reading any of those emails anymore, right? And guess what? They stopped coming. And the result was I felt calmer and more relieved. And I had this overwhelming sense that I was finally in control of my life. It was so liberating to realize that I didn't care what he thought or what he told other people about me. You know what? If they already knew me, they could judge for themselves. And if they didn't know me, honestly, it wasn't that important. And that moment, when I let go of worrying or caring about what he thought of my life, that was a giant leap forward into my new, better life. So if you're able to let go of relying on your ex and your past marriage to give you a sense of who you are, if you're able to let go of the idea of the life that you thought you would be living as part of a couple, if you're able to start to put yourself, your care, your physicality, your emotionality, and make that a priority in your life, if you're able to begin the process of creating your vision for how you want your future to look, then you can go on to be a centered, stable, self-assured, capable woman, and you will find that happiness that you've been feeling is lost. In fact, you may even look back at some point and surprise yourself by feeling that you actually love your new life and wouldn't go back despite all the challenges you've had to face along the way. And I have to tell you, I'm lucky. I'm at the point now where I can say, my ex-husband did me the biggest favor by leaving me. Now, trying to make yourself feel better with the behavior and habits that are not so great are actually holding you back. That emotional turmoil you have after your divorce, it's actually recognized. There's actually a stress scale, would you believe? It's the Holmes and Ross stress scale. And divorce is the second most stressful life event after the death of a spouse. So of course you're going to find yourself acting out in destructive and uncharacteristic ways, right? You have all these intrusive thoughts and this feeling of overwhelm and a sense of hopelessness. It's only natural under those circumstances to do anything you want to do to make yourself feel better. The thing is, it's usually only for a short time. So if you can recognize these behaviors, it's a really vital step to guarding against them. And it's important to understand that the short-term boost you get from this is actually working against your long-term ability to heal and move on in a positive way. Now, there are many ways to abuse yourself, right? Excess alcohol consumption, overeating, extreme measures to improve your appearance, being addicted to shopping or gambling. Those are just a few of them. Any activity that you compulsively pursue which harms you or is self-destructive, these are all things that I've seen come up in my practice. And honestly, definitely a couple of them I've had myself. So avoiding these destructive behaviors is vitally important, because otherwise you're not going to be able to move positively forward after your divorce. Any and all of these destructive coping things will take an emotional toll on you, because despite the rush you feel when you're actually engaging them, they're usually followed by shame and anger at yourself, right? When you just finish that packet of chips and then you go, why did I do that? Oh my God, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I just did that, right? It's all negative, all this negativity. And it also brings negative health impacts. And not only that, there are financial consequences to a lot of these. Spending money on shopping, cosmetic fixes, partying, it's not going to help you balance your budget towards the things that you really need to focus on moving forward. Now, I get it. It's really painful to face the emotions, right? And these fun things, they mask it. And it might be necessary to find support with this. You might need to make the shift from this self-abuse and destructive behavior. Or it might just be something that you can control. But in order to combat any of these, take a step back and think about any of the good habits that you might have lost since you got divorced. Make yourself a list and prioritize the things that you enjoy doing that help you feel happy and relaxed, right? For example, they can range from exercise, hobbies that you like to pursue, such as gardening or painting. Could be meditation or healthy cooking, right? Any of these. These healthier habits replace the destructive ones, and they're going to give you a boost to your energy. And honestly, your self-esteem is really going to get a boost. Now, my client Jill was definitely drinking more than was healthy, and it was impacting her work, her children, and her health. And she was also making some pretty poor decisions in other areas of her life, such as relationships. Now, once we were able to help her make that shift from feelings to the rational thinking about what she really wanted and what she was trying to avoid, then she was able to stop the emotional tailspin. She was still experiencing some of those feelings, they're not going to go away, but they were not controlling her anymore. She stopped going out 3 nights every weekend and instead found more constructive ways to connect with friends. She started to concentrate on her goals for the new life she wanted to live. She joined a gym, actually lost a significant amount of weight. Her relationship with her children improved, and through all of this, her self-esteem rose. Prompting new positive goals and actions was the result of all of this. And she found that she was not really interested in the same type of controlling men anymore. And she started to know what she wanted out of her life. Now, not facing your new financial reality can be a problem too. And again, this is another one that I definitely suffered from, should we say. Financial insecurity after divorce is real. It's a real and reasonable fear, even if you come from a financially stable marriage, because often we have no idea how much or how little money we'll have when the whole flipping thing is over, right? Some of us have to start over after divorce with no money at all, and some of us even start in a hole financially. Now, there's been a lot written about this, and there's an article in Forbes magazine. Women who divorce after 50 are especially vulnerable to financial difficulty, particularly if they've taken time away from paid work to be stay-at-home mothers. Given higher incomes and more continuous work histories, men are generally much better positioned than women to get through this financial storm, right? There is a significant economic disparity between men and women, and the older we get, the more that dangerous gap widens. So, it's not all doom and gloom. because you need to take control of your finances as soon as possible. Because if you don't, the problem's going to compound, right? You'll feel like a lack of control. You won't know what you can and what you should spend. You might even be wondering whether you can keep a roof over your head, right? And that's what's that going to do. Your stress, your fear, your anxiety, it's all going to soar. So looking after your financial health and fully knowing your situation, no matter the state of it, will give you a feeling of control. Now, feeling in control of a situation lessens the stress. So you'll be able to budget adequately and know what you need to do in order to meet your current and future needs. And if you do that, you're eliminating the fear that you might have about how you're going to manage. So instead of ignoring it or constantly bemoaning the fact that it isn't fair, now's the time to take action. If you face the fear and make the right preparations, whatever the position you're starting from, right, you can overcome and move on with confidence. Now, in order to take action now, I'm going to give you 3 main areas that you need to look at first. So the first one is post-divorce assets, right? Make sure you know everything in your new financial situation. How much equity do you have in your home? How much do you have in savings? How much do you have in any retirement accounts? How much in the bank? Do you have a significant debt? You need to write it all down so you can see exactly what your situation is. Then we have to deal with taxes. Taxes after divorce can get very complicated, right? They're really specialized. So it's good to talk to an expert about that. But I can personally tell you that I got blindsided right after my divorce. I was supposed to pay taxes on my alimony and I didn't know. And the first April after my divorce, I got slapped with a $20,000 tax bill. So many of the women I've spoken to found out the hard way, just like me. So please, I want you to find a tax expert or a financial expert and ask them. You can ask for free. People will give you information. And very importantly, you need to accept your new financial reality. No matter how much or how little money you have, your first step is to find out precisely where you stand. Find out exactly how much you have coming in every month and exactly how much you have going out, and put together a realistic budget. Facing your fear and taking control is in itself very empowering because it gives you a place to start and it will boost your confidence that, you know what, I've got this. Especially if you're living on less than before. A budget will give you the confidence, even when that decision is like, oh, I'm not going to buy that because I can't afford it. Now you're in control and you know what you can do. One client became divorced after 33 years of marriage, and her husband had asked her to retire. She was a teacher and she'd been doing it for years. But the year before they got divorced, he asked her to leave because they wanted to travel and go to a warmer climate. And then not long after that, he told her it was all over and she was left devastated. And as she told me at the time, she had no clue about finances and she didn't know what to do. She should have gone through a lawyer and not through mediation. Honestly, she was left in a really bad financial situation. However, after we spoken, she found herself a financial planner to help her sort through her remaining assets. And on that lady's advice, she went back to work. She sold her house. She could buy a smaller house and she was living comfortably. Once she was able to see the actual situation and a path to move forward, it lifted a huge burden and things progressed in a much smoother manner. You know, she told me she felt more in control of her life and she was proud that she delved into something that had terrified her so much. In fact, she even said to me it was the first decent night's sleep she'd had in a long time. So one of the steps is to reframe your negative emotions. What does that mean? Right? I will explain it to you. There are so many emotions battling in you now at the end of your relationship, right? And I've had them all to varying degrees and mixed together in different ways. And I've listened to them all from clients. Boiled down, the main ones really come down to anger, guilt, sadness, and confusion. However, there's a general sprinkling of resentment and bitterness that's in there too. What they do have in common, whatever degree you have them to, or whatever mixture you're dealing with, is that they're keeping you trapped in chronic pain and a sense of numbness, and it's not allowing you to move on with the rest of your life. When your energy is totally focused on these negative emotions, it blinds you to the possibilities of your present and the future, and it's definitely a surefire way to stay connected to the past. Sometimes these emotions are almost the only thing that gets you up in the morning. I know. They fuel the energy that you have to get through the day, and it's really easy to relive the worst things we feel. The things that we hated about our marriage, things that we feel have been done to us, we live them over and over again, and it just fuels these negative emotions. Why do we do this? That anger or sadness or guilt, that becomes our comfortable place, and it makes it easy to explain why things are not going the way we think they should. They become our way of protecting us from something else that we think will be much worse. And that's the fear of what will happen next. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. This quote has been, attributed to various people, but it really doesn't matter who said it first. The principle is what matters. When you're letting yourself go through every day with these negative emotions, the only person that's feeling the pain is you. You may also be affecting the loved ones around you, like your children or your coworkers, because honestly, it's impossible to be our best selves when all we are feeling is just negativity. Not only may you be a permanent grouch to those around you, right? But it's affecting your health in a lot of negative ways. You're going to have a lack of sleep. You're going to have all these little aches and pains. It causes us to be careless. Accidents happen. Even to the extreme that it goes on long enough, it can cause serious illnesses to manifest. Bad decisions all come from being in a negative state. When you make these, it only serves to justify your view of yourself as someone who's not able to make any decisions at all. It's just a vicious cycle. So what can you do about it? At some point, you have to reach out and consciously begin to manage your emotions. This will become easier to do as you begin to understand how this hangover from your divorce starts, right? What keeps it in place, what it looks like, what it's protecting you from, and how you can release it. Moving from feelings to rational thinking is the one way to stop the emotional tailspin. If you can think about something, you can put it outside of yourself. You may still have those feelings, right? They're not going to go away, but they don't have you. That's the important part. Hard as it is going to be, there are things you can do to help relieve these emotions. You need to be open to the various possibilities for healing, which may take the place in the form of therapy, spiritual assistance, support groups, friends, books, coaches. Whatever you do, it's most important that you open yourself up to the necessary process for healing your heart, right? You need to care for yourself. You can feel the pain, realize it, and then release it. Allow yourself to grieve the losses about your divorce. Resist the desire for revenge. Be open to the chance to be alone. Forgive. That's a big one. I'm going to say that again because honestly, that's the most important one. Forgive and journal. My client Jenny came to me particularly angry because she felt she'd been left with the burden of dealing with all the things around the house. And she had no idea how she was going to do it. She was now the one who had to pay the bills, clean out the garage, paint the house, manage all the little daily tasks. And she felt that her ex-husband was now somewhere off with no responsibilities and able to enjoy life, while she was left with all of the hard work. And when we went through the exercises that we do together to see what was really coming up for her, she discovered that looking back, she actually used to do all of those things when she was married anyway. And while he had spent times on things that he wanted to do for himself, she was running around doing all the work. Added to that, she always had his opinion about how things should be done. In regards to doing the tasks, nothing had actually changed for her. However, now that she was in charge of how she was doing what she did, she came to realize that she's a much stronger person than she'd thought initially, because now she was in control. As hard as this is to swallow, I'm going to say it again. The best way forward to releasing these negative emotions is to forgive. You're going to forgive him. You're going to forgive her, if there is one. And you're going to forgive yourself. When you can forgive someone else, it's not about helping them, letting them off the hook. It's about helping you to move on. Let's face it, you can't go back. You can't change the past. You can't control the way your ex thinks or the way he behaves. Your control is in the way that you react and behave. How much power will you feel when you decide to move away from this negative attachment and start to live your best life? One powerful way to help you do this is to rewrite the key aspects of your story from a more balanced, empathetic place. This is a place that makes you less as a victim, less devastated, and it will reduce your anger and bitterness to go along with that. As RuPaul says, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love someone else? There's a little voice in your head that pretends to be all about helping you and protecting you and being the one who tells you the way it is. However, that little voice is actually feeding you a line of total BS for the most part. We say things to ourselves that we'd never dream of saying to another person. Well, not out loud, at least. For example, I don't make good decisions. I look too fat, thin, ugly, old, dowdy, wrinkly, fill in the blank, right? Whatever you want to say. I can't possibly succeed at that. Or I always fail. Nobody could love me. I can't do it. I can't make any money on my own. I can't have a life on my own. I never follow through. I'm not good enough. Other people can do it better than me. They will judge me. They will judge the way I look, the things I say. I can't change, right? This list is endless. And I bet you recognize some of the things that I said just now, and I bet you could add a few of your own. All of these things that we believe about ourselves are actually ideas and beliefs that have been put into our heads by other people from the time that we were toddling around as impressionable little sponges that we were as children. They've been reinforced by our exes to a greater or lesser extent, and they've been repeated by us to ourselves enough now so that we think that this is the absolute truth of who we are. So now, whenever the need arises to face a challenge or improve our lives, or speak up at work, here they come. These beliefs pop up and they shoot us down, and they keep us in the place we think we belong. So our job now is to bust those beliefs and shine a light on them for what they are. When you put them against the actual logical truth of real life as evidenced by things that you can point to, things that you've done and experienced, you're going to find that they don't even match up. If your belief is that you can't follow through on something, then the chances are that you'll never follow through on something. If your belief is that no one wants to hear your opinion about things in meetings, then they'll probably never hear from you in meetings. So you get to prove yourself and those beliefs correct over and over again, and you stop the progress for yourself. So how about this? What if you decided not to listen to the voice? What if you swallowed that fear for once and took the leap to speak up at a meeting in work? Worst case, this is what's going to happen. People are going to ignore you and they're going to get on with their day. Nothing changed. Best case, the boss pulls you aside. He said he was really impressed by your innovation and the out-of-the-box thinking. Something will most definitely change. Maybe that belief was wrong. Maybe you do have things to contribute to people and things they want to hear. Maybe you can step up and fight for that promotion that's up for grabs. How would it feel to step into the real you? How would it feel to lean into your full potential? How would it feel to finally take control over your life? Now listen, no one is born a sad sack loser waste of space, right? Who can't make decisions and has no idea how to cope on her own. And I'm telling you right now that you most certainly were not. So stop telling yourself that. What you put out in your thoughts is what you get back. So flip that script and start putting out the truth of a totally fabulous, capable, powerful woman that you are. And watch the magic that can happen for you. I want you to try this exercise. See, I told you to get a pen and paper. I hope you're writing this down. I want you to write down 5 things you tell yourself about yourself. Like, I'm fat and ugly, or I'm unlovable, or I never have any money. I'll never find a good job. All men are horrible, right? Take a look at those and decide if they're true, or decide if they're absolute rubbish. So flip the script and let's write 5 sentences that state the truth of who you are. And you can probably find actual real lifetimes when the good sentences really happened. I look amazing when I get up and make an effort. I'm a vibrant, fabulous woman that people like to be around. I have more than enough money to get what I need. I'm such a great employee, anyone would be lucky to have me. There are plenty of great men out there just waiting for me to confidently emerge and decide that they can love me. Okay, now's the time to rewrite those false beliefs, because new beliefs equal new possibilities, equal a new you. Now, once you've found the confidence that comes from realizing your true worth, you can channel your energies in post-divorce into examining your life, your relationships, and your goals. It's important to redefine your priorities and discover what's meaningful to you. You can be that wonderful, mature woman whose identity is not tied to the role of wife and mother, because now you're going to set new goals for yourself. Love yourself. Honestly, this whole thing is that. It's a magic bullet, really. Think about what you really want out of life going forward. Start putting yourself and your happiness to the top of the list of your priorities. Realize that you're worth investing your time and your energy and your money to move yourself ahead and get what you really want out of this life. Because I'm telling you right now, you deserve to be happy and confident and fabulous, right? But you've had this divorce now, so how do you safeguard your personal well-being? I'm here to tell you that this is a choice. Your well-being, your sanity, your spirit are areas of the divorce and the life after it that are totally within your control. Now, let's face it, there are lots of things you can't control about divorce. So taking control of this area is liberating and powerful and healing. One of the things that I do with my clients after their divorce is to make a bucket list. Now, they can put anything on this list, whether they think it's possible or not. And it can range from taking a cruise to the Mediterranean, to learning to tango, to meditating for 5 minutes every day. And you can create your own list. And then you post it somewhere really handy. Now, having small items that you can tick off easily is a great way to reconnect with who you are and to begin seeing yourself as separate from your ex. It's also great for building confidence in your abilities and how you can take care of yourself. If you need support with this, you can find a friend to do it with you, or you can get a coach so that they can help you with encouragement and accountability, and celebrate your successes. So think about that right now. What are you going to put on your list for your goals of what you're going to do in your new life? Now that you're clear on who you are and where you're going in your life, this is the time to start asking yourself about a potential partner that you might want to spend the rest of your life with. Now, you've sorted through the events of the past, you've released the negative patterns, and you're aware of the self-sabotaging voice that sometimes pops into your head. Sometimes more often than sometimes. So, who do you want to share this new life with you? And more importantly, where are you going to find him? Now, there are still organic places to meet a match, friends of friends, at church, places where you can enjoy hobbies like biking, painting. But honestly, these days, most of us at least dabble in online dating. And I'll be honest with you, this can be a very frustrating platform. But if you persevere and you understand that it needs to be approached in a more playful attitude, many couples will find their life partners on there. And it sounds crazy, but I'm going to say it anyway. When you go into the dating game online, you really can't take anything personally at the beginning. If that, get nothing else, that's a key takeaway right there. Because when they walk away, it's not about you. Now, in order to sort through your preferences, I suggest we make 3 main lists. The first is to know what you don't want. So what are your deal breakers? This is a list that at times you'll be tempted to bend a little, but if you do, I'm telling you right now, it's going to come back to bite you. This can range from safety points, like anyone who's physically threatening towards you, to personal preferences, like someone who still has young children at home under a certain age. And now when you know what you don't want, it's time to think about what you do want. So we're going to call this list the must-haves. And I'm not including things here that refer to physical appearance, although you can include those if you want to. The tall, dark, and well-toned man of my dreams has on occasion turned out to be the biggest jerk I've ever met. So that isn't really the most important thing. You might need to give a little leeway in that regard, right? But other things like good communicator, considerate, very loving towards his family, that type of thing. The third list I suggest to make is the nice to have list. Now, this is where you could put the look of your future partner, all right? And it's also good to add things that you'd like to have in common, like if you're a big bike rider, he likes to ride bikes. If you love to be in the mountains, it's somebody who likes the mountains. If you're crazy about dogs like me, it's got to be somebody who's okay with your dogs. Something that you can do together and really connect over. I think this one is a much more personal list, right? And it's probably going to grow or change as you start to meet more people. Making these lists will focus you and help to keep you on track to avoid some of the biggest pitfalls that come with online dating, right? While you can use these things that were a problem in your marriage or your past relationships for your lists, try not to assume that everyone you meet will behave or react like your ex, okay? Everyone has baggage. Everyone has things that we're carrying around with us. No one is going to be perfect. We all have our issues and bad days. I know for sure that I do. And the idea is to try and unpack as much of this as we can and reduce it to a small handbag as much as possible. Own what you might have lurking in that handbag yourself and allow that somebody else might too. And whatever you have on your lists, whatever you decide is the type of relationship you want for that moment, the most important thing to remember is that this is supposed to be fun. When you have that mindset, you'll find that the ups and downs of meeting new people are smoother, and you grow to understand more about who you are and what you want. So there you have the 7 essential steps to find the life and love you deserve after divorce. Focus forward. You get to write a new script now. Replace old ways of hiding and comfort. Feel good about the healthier alternatives. Take control by learning about your assets. Create a budget, make a plan for the future. Reframe emotions by rational thinking. Look at what is true about yourself. Find your confidence and your self-worth. Make your goals and passions a priority. Find the love you deserve, because now you're going to figure out what you're looking for. Now, you've been trying to do this by yourself for a while now, and things haven't changed, or maybe they've become even worse. And you have the desire to move on, but find that you're constantly pulled back into your comfort zone, even if that comfort zone is actually painful and harmful for you. Now, many of the women that I work with tell me that they've spent years struggling with the challenges brought on by their divorce hangover. There are missed career opportunities, worsening relationships with family and friends, leading to feelings of frustration and isolation. There are health issues brought on by trying to comfort themselves with these bad habits. The financial burden of doctors and the pills for both the physical and the psychological problems brought on by stress. And that stress and anxiety and the anger, it's making them feel like they have no control over their own lives. There's so much money wasted on quick fixes. and not feeling and being the joyful woman that she wants to present to the world, one who's open to finding the peace and love that she deserves. Now, what if instead you can fast track this process and in just a couple of months you can break the old patterns that you've been spinning in and silence that negative voice in your head, the one that's keeping you trapped in your old limiting beliefs? Today, I promise to show you that you can eliminate the negative emotions that are dragging you down, that you have the ability to eliminate the destructive behaviors, that you are capable of getting a handle on your finances, that you can recognize the patterns from your past and change them in order to find the love that you deserve, and that there's a clear path to realizing that you are indeed a fabulous, confident woman who can take control of your life and use that knowledge to achieve your goals. My system is proven to work, and it has a clear pathway to establish the results that you need to move positively forward right now. And doing it without the years of waiting to see if, somehow it gets better on its own. You can focus forward and you get to write a new script in your life. You can replace the old ways of hiding and comfort and feel good about the healthier alternatives. You can take control of your finances, making a plan for the future. You are able to reframe those emotions and start rationally thinking. You can look at what is really true about yourself to find the real woman that you are and have confidence. You can make your goals and your passions a priority in your life. And you can believe in your self-worth, giving you the confidence to set boundaries, know what you want, and move confidently to find the love that you deserve. When Christine came to me, she was really struggling, both personally, socially, and at work. And this is what she wrote to me after we'd worked together. After working with you, I found hope and a purpose for my life. I feel more confident and less anxious. I appreciate who I am and how I think, and I'm less judgmental of myself and others. I no longer feel stuck. The differences that I see in myself after working with you is a more confident woman who has slowed down to take care of myself, nourish myself, and appreciate the unique differences in who I am. I catch myself when I start judging myself or others, and I lead out of a sense of empowerment and expectation that others will hear what I have to say, or there'll be consequences. I have a deep sense of peace that I haven't had in a long time. Now you have a choice. You can go back to the way things were. You can keep endlessly flipping through dating profiles. Maybe you'll have a couple of dates, but ultimately you'll find that this is the same old unfulfilling relationship that you had before, and you're going to feel deeply frustrated with yourself. Maybe you'll go back into hiding, feeling lonely, and that you're too damaged to find love. Maybe you'll be feeling that life will never be as you dream it will. Or if you're done with that rubbish and you're ready to really unlock your full potential and you're ready to live with confidence and energy and joy, if that's what you want, then here is what I have for you. Every week, I set aside a few of my coaching slots to counsel prospective clients for free. Now, there's just one of me, and obviously I can't spend all my time coaching for free, so these spots are very limited. On this call, we'll tackle together whatever your biggest challenges are so that you can walk away with a proven, viable strategy to achieve the results that you want. Now, if you like what we develop together, and if you'd like my support in making sure you get those results that you want, and if I genuinely believe I can help you get it, I'll be happy to share the details around how that would work if you'd like to hear about it. But rest assured, this isn't going to be some sort of sales pitch in disguise, nor will you ever receive any follow-up calls from me or anybody else on my team. Because honestly, this only works if you truly want it. If you don't, there's no point in trying to move forward. But there is a catch. because this is not for everybody. If you want to be on one of these calls, you must be willing to acknowledge the grief of the divorce, recognize your emotions, but be willing to reframe them and move positively forward. You must be willing to move out of your comfort zone. You need to understand that you should be a priority in your own life. More importantly, you must believe now that your peace and goals and happiness are worth your investment and your time and your energy. This is about real accountability and support, and the belief in your ability to move on and thrive. Diana was struggling for years, but she took the leap and she changed her whole life. I've totally worked through the issues of my failure, and I've released the anger that I've been holding on to for over 8 years. I'm more aware of the importance of doing things for myself. I have goals to help me achieve my get out of the house and do something different, enjoyable, relaxing. I'm more confident in myself. I no longer even think of that black cloud of failure that I thought followed me around. It's just disappeared. I'm making plans to get outside my comfort zone and do things. The outlook for my future is brighter, and I'm looking forward to discovering new friends and even started dating. And as an update to this, since she wrote to me, since we've worked together, Diana is now in a committed relationship. And I see her joyful posts on Facebook outlining her new life and how happy she is almost every day. As I said, I'm a one-woman show. And so my spaces for these free discovery calls are limited. On this call, we'll take a look at the biggest challenges you face right now and where you'd rather be instead. It's our chance to explore if we're a good fit and if I'm able to achieve the goals you have for your new and better life. And because I want to ensure your success, at the end of that call, we can make a decision together whether it makes sense for us to move forward. If I don't believe that I'm the person to help you get the results you desire, I'm going to let you know, and I'm going to try and point you in the direction I think might be a better path for you. So in order to get this call, you need to click on the button below to sign up for one of these very limited spots, and they're going to be available over the next couple of days. Here are a couple more success stories. Larissa says, I'm in a much better place emotionally, able to have distance and separation from my ex, but also have better boundaries or insight on why I may have issues setting them. Ready to move forward with whatever comes next, not feeling stuck. I was surprised by how quickly I could see progress in myself. And Patricia said, Fiona has a gift. She makes you realize as moms and women how much we give of ourselves and how important it is to refresh, reflect, and restore our bodies, minds, and souls. She opens one's eyes to see how we must remain who we really are in every relationship and how we must never stop pushing ourselves to be better. If you want to have these kind of results, this is your time right now. Sign up below, sign up for your discovery call, and I'm really looking forward to talking to you.